And we're on. Let's see. All right. Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of AK on Fire. Joining me tonight is the panel. To my right, it's Rico the Plug, Miss T, Sweet Jones, and Melly Mel. Today's topic is the side chick phenomenon. As you know, last week Michael Blackson made some waves as he recently admitted that his fiancée agreed to allow him to have one side chick per month. The 49-year-old comedian believed that since he's rich, he should be allowed to cheat because, in his view, cheating is a rich man's sport since broke men cannot afford it. His fiancée Rada, said that for her, sex with the same person over a long period of time gets boring. So for him, it was, for them, it was okay, so long as he only had one different side piece per month. She was afraid that if he used the same side piece, that attachments would form and threaten the relationship. When asked if Rhoda was allowed to enjoy the same freedoms as Blackson, he expressed that there was only one room. There's only room for one penis in their relationship. Let me see if we have that queued up. Together since 2002. On and okay, off. Hold on. Let's see. One second. Give me 1 second. Let me cue that up.
One rooster in the hen house.
Yeah, he said only one.
One rooster in the hen house, baby.
Okay, so we are at 119.
Said what he said.
Yeah, one rooster in the hen house, man. One rooster.
The boy said what he said.
All right. Okay, let's see. We got it now.
Oh man.
Okay. I don't know if I need to. Let's see. 1 second. All right, there we go.
Wanted to have one side piece a month as well?
Well, you know what, Rada.
Hold on, this is not it. Yeah, 1 second. Bring that back.
I feel like
I'm sorry, I didn't have it queued up, but here we go.
I've been in a long-term relationship, and I've said this before. You having sex with the same individual for years, it gets boring. And I just wanted some excitement in the bedroom. And I feel like when he has these extracurricular activities, or when we have extracurricular activities together, it makes our sex life that more amazing. And it's been proven every single time. Like, we get back together and we have such amazing sex, and that's kind of what's priority for me. And yeah, I'm a freak, but everybody else, it's just they don't talk about it. And I'm open and I'm direct. You ask me something, I'll tell you. There's nothing to hide. I mean, what's the joy of life if you can't be yourself? You know?
So does that, Michael, would that same arrangement work in Rada's case if she wanted to have one side piece a month as well?
Well, you know what, Rada, I mean, you told him she's only interested in one penis. But, you know,
I can only handle one.
She only handle one. And, I mean, she's allowed to have any female she wants.
But not a man?
Not a man, because she don't want a man. We don't need another penis in the relationship.
Well, do you need another vagina in the relationship? Where is the balance here?
It makes our sex life excited.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, beginning with you, Miss T, are you? What did you think when you heard Michael Blackson and his fiancée say that over the last week?
Well, I saw a different, like the clip that I saw was similar to, it was the same interview, but it was broken up. And so when she said that she thinks it gets boring, to me as a woman, I'm thinking like, why in the back of his head is he not thinking based off of her statement that she's just doing the same thing and he doesn't know? So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't believe that she's not doing the same thing without his knowledge.
I mean, I can, I don't know. There's some things that she said that would make me agree with you when she said that sex with the same person for a long period of time can be boring.
That part there.
Yeah, that phrase made me think, yeah, you're kind of doing it yourself. Hey, Sweet Jones, what did you think when you heard it?
Well, I always find humor in this kind of stuff because, you know, when you first hear it, you automatically know you're going to get the, well, what if question that's going to come next. And you know what I'm saying? She clearly, you know, explained why she was okay with it and why she was into it. And the lady who was hosting, she just had to ask her, you know, where's there room for two vaginas? Like, they just explained all that. Those are my initial thoughts when I hear stuff like that. I just watch for that hook because, you know, it's just going to be an array of opinions you're going to get about this thing, and you're not going to really come to a consensus. That's the first thing I think when I hear these kind of topics.
Mm-hmm. Mel, what were your thoughts?
I kind of agree with what Miss T said. Interestingly enough, she's a lesbian, so I kind of think that she's the fiance is bisexual. So I think, you know, having another woman kind of satisfies her urge for women on the side too. So it's benefiting both of them because, you know, he's a heterosexual male and she's a bisexual female. So they're both getting their rocks off, if you ask me.
And so you think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it seems to work for them. They both agree to it. And I feel like if you talk to your partner and both of y'all are down, then, you know, it is what it is.
Rico, what's up?
I agree with what Miss Mel just said. I definitely think that, first off, when a lot of people talk about relationships like this, they tend to bring up the factor of cheating. Well, that happens in, you know, supposed monogamous relationships all the time. Actually, I think that it kind of closes the door or even lessens the possibility that a person will do something without your knowledge if they are free to tell you what it is they like. They are able to express that. Likes women. So speaking from experience, I've been in situations where the women weren't as forthright as her, but they had those special girlfriends that they didn't want to tell your boy about. But you know.
Okay, I have
pulling all-nighters over these girlfriends' houses. Yeah, your boy know what's happening.
I have Miss Mika in the back. Once she cams up, I'm gonna add her onto the panel.
Let's get it.
Yeah, Mika, if you can hear me once you cam up, I wanna bring you up. So I want to start with you, Mel. Are there reasons? Don't you think there are legitimate reasons for? Well, before I even go into that, do you think that it's becoming normalized? You know, accepting side chicks or side dudes. Do you think that's becoming normalized as part of our culture?
I wouldn't say normalized. And in this situation, I wouldn't call it like a side chick because everybody knows what's going on. To me, a side chick is secret, something that you know, dip in and out of on the side here and there. But if everybody's okay with what's going on, it's not really a side chick in my opinion. But I wouldn't say it's normalized. I would say people are more accepting of, you know, open relationships now. So yeah, I just think that I wouldn't use the word normalize, but you know, if both parties agree and they're down with it, you know, who am I to say otherwise?
Well, so Rick, what do you think? Do you think that well, I shouldn't say normalized, I should say, well, more accepted, right? Because when we were coming up, well, no, it's always, I mean, having a side chick has always been around, but it just seems like everybody nowadays is having either a side dude or a side chick, and I don't think it's frowned upon. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are throwing the word side chick around a lot, like it's only the dudes. but it's a lot of side dudes, and it's a lot of chicks that got side chicks. So I think that what's not normal is today people feel free to say how they feel or what they're doing, more so than what they did in the past. Because just to be frank, people wilding out now. So it's just like, what do you have to be embarrassed about? You know, people just, they wilding out. So I guess people will be more forthright about what they really want. And I think a lot of times it's assumed that guys do a lot of things, but it's not okay for us to say when we, if that's making any sense to you.
Okay, can you repeat the last thing you said? You kind of went out a bit.
Oh, okay. I said I think a lot of times it's assumed that men do a lot of things, but it's not technically okay for us to just come forth and say how we feel. I mean, especially in a situation like this, a lot of people are painted like she's a victim or something, like she's an unwilling participant. But this is what she wants to do, and it's what a lot of women want to do, from what I can see.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk, investigate that further, as far as, you know, men being painted out to be, or women portrayed as the victims. We're gonna dive into some numbers that would suggest that is not the case at all. Ms. T, what do you think? Do you think that, I mean, when you look at the marriage rates and the fact that
yes.
You say what? Oh, when you look at the marriage rates and the fact that the divorce rate is at 50%, and especially when you talk about folks in our community that 1 in 4 get married, do you think that plays a large part in acceptance of the side bae culture?
I don't think it plays a part necessarily in the acceptance of it, because that 50% rate for divorce rates also includes people that have been married 3, 4, 5, 10 times. Mm-hmm. So that's going to increase the rate, because you got multiple people doing it over and over again. Mm-hmm. However, I believe sexuality in general is more accepted from when we were younger, and people talk about it more and they're more open about their sexuality. So it's not just cases like this, it's just it in general.
Yeah. In the chat, Melvin Perry says a fear of rejection. I want to talk about that, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Melvin, can you please type in what exactly do you mean when you're saying the fear of rejection? I don't want to assume what you're saying. I know he says tit for tat syndrome, fear of rejection. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. I'll follow back up with that point. So, the Sweet Jones, I don't think I got to you.
No, you didn't. It is, to me, it is definitely more acceptable today. And the reason what I mean by acceptable, I don't mean that women back then, you know, disapproved of or disapproved of it any less or any more. But back then, in our days, women used to hide stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Women were ashamed to be looked at like freaks and hoes and stuff like that. But nowadays, in this exposure culture that we live in, man, they quick to go tell the next woman, I had your man, or I can have your man. You can take him back and back to the block, back to the, back to the streets, whatever the songs say. They advertise in this promiscuity. What's the word? I'm fucking it up.
Promiscuity.
Yeah, they are advertising this stuff, man, and it's amazing, man. Like, is here, is more accepted, kind of like in terms of culture, like as overseas and stuff, it's kind of always been accepted. It ain't really been something that's been frowned upon, but it's like just like in a lot of different ways, the European lifestyle and stuff is making its way over here, man. And we're gonna take it and run with it. We gonna take it and make it our own, man, and just make a mess of it along the way.
Right. Okay, so Melvin Perry says that they choose to deal with who wants to deal with them, and that's whether it's men or women. And when he says that, it reminds me of there was a line that the female comedian Samore says, she said, "I like who likes me," shit, right? So rather than go out there and try to chase somebody, if the person that likes you and you're attracted to them, even if they're attached, then so be it. And so, in some cases with some of the women. So, Mel, there was a study by the Journal of Research and Personality, and it says roughly 30 to 60% of all married individuals engage in infidelity at some point, and as women as well as men. And when you break down the numbers, women cheat nearly as much as men. So even though we talk about men have this culture of side chicks, what about the culture that largely goes unspoken about of having a side dude? Because that is a real thing.
Yeah, I think it is a real thing. It kind of goes back to what Sweet Jones said, women hide it. Some women still do, and women also cover their tracks. So if I'm going to cheat, I'm going to tell my homegirl, Miss T, I'm at your house, I'm watching your kids when I'm out with Rico the Plug doing what we do. So, so women cover their tracks better than men. And also women are emotional cheaters. So if a woman is cheating, it's not necessarily sex from the beginning. It's, oh, he's nice to me. He does things that my husband doesn't do, my boyfriend doesn't do, and he listens to me, and I feel like I can be myself with him. So most of the time with women, the cheating starts from a friendship, and then, one night, one thing leads to another, and that's how sex happens, in my opinion. I think women are more emotional first, and then the physical, whereas guys are physical off the rip, and more likely to get caught. But I definitely think women cheat just as much, if not more.
Yes.
Than men.
Yes, it's true, and it's outrageous. It is outrageous that men get all the blame. I'm sick and tired of it. Every time I quote the stats, women will say, well, where you get that from? They want to attack the credibility of the source. Like, no, ladies, y'all cheat nearly as much as men. We're
just better at hiding it and being on the low about it. Guys, y'all don't hide it well.
No, it's not even so much as you're better at hiding it. You're just better at deflecting, crying, and and men just.
That's part of the hiding.
But the men know.
Same thing.
Exactly.
Huh? It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not hiding. It's like a man knows. He just like oh, F it. I don't feel like giving it.
Everything she said, man.
I
want a piece of everything she said.
Well, you on deck next. Give me what you got.
Yeah, all right, cool. Check this out. First of all, I have a problem with women saying things as if men don't have emotions. Let me tell you, a lot of men are not cheating. I don't think most men cheat for the body. Like a lot of people, with men, it's just physical. Like we just running around with a club and we got to hit something with it. It's not like that, bro. It's treatment. I tell people all the time, The same man that you think need Viagra can go in a strip club and that thing rise like the flag, you know what I mean? Like all day long. It's not the body of the stripper. When you walk in that club, that stripper treats you like she been waiting for you her whole life.
Of course she does, because you're paying her.
And your wife just make sure you take off your boots before you come in the house. You know what I mean? Like when you come and you get that total energy, we need that. And if you gotta go get it from Sally from the Valley, I mean, that's what make us feel good when we get up in the AM and go to work. It's an emotional component for men as well. It is not strictly for the body. And then I think nowadays, when you talk about emotional, a lot of these women are not coming inside dude for emotional support. I'm gonna tell you straight up, ain't no woman who hollered at me on the slick, hollered at me because I'm a good shoulder to lean on. She's not leaning on my shoulders. She's not leaning on my shoulder. I'm telling you. So all of that, y'all dress it up better. Because men ain't gonna put a whole bunch of energy into dressing it up, because we know that no matter what we say, we're gonna be wrong. If my wife cheat on me, I'm gonna be wrong. Well, you weren't there for her,
right.
So you're not better, and you're not slicker. Just I'm not about to go tell Abe my last 4 girlfriends cheated on me. Right. Also, a lot of women. We still skipping over the fact that a lot of women have side chicks.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And it's hard to it's really hard for a man to address that.
Well, it's like, how you even gonna know? How would you know? You could just say that I'm over my best friend's house. I mean, it's hard.
I don't want to. I'm just saying, I hope that some people chime in on the chat, because I sent the link to a whole bunch of people that I feel like have some experience in the area.
And they got you said they got some explaining to do.
Well, I think that they can, I tag some people who know that I know.
That you know.
That I know some stuff. Yeah. And so I'm hoping they'll be real enough to be like, oh, okay, Rico talking about
so and so,
right? I had an ex-girlfriend, and she would always send me the nicest pictures. She'd be on my mind. I'd be like, man, I'm trying to work. She's sending me these pictures, and I used to be like, babe, who taking these pictures? Oh, such and such took. I'm like, man, y'all taking some, that's a nice picture. I'm just gonna say that's a nice picture. That's a nice picture. Yeah, I appreciate it. Tell her I said thanks, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Right? But what you gonna do though? And y'all a little freer, me and Abe and Stan, we ain't changing clothes in front of each other and shit. Like, we can leave the room,
Yeah.
Right. We ain't doing stuff like y'all do.
Right.
Yeah. And so like the cheating, y'all have so many avenues to cheat and cover it up that we don't have. And as far as the statistics, I think that a man is far more likely to admit that he has cheated in the past. Men don't have that internal desire to paint themselves as a total angel.
Right.
That women, society actually pressures women to do it. So I think that if the statistics say that women cheat at almost the same rate as men, I think that probably means they cheat about twice as much as men.
Right.
Because they're not likely to tell it.
Well, the thing is with women, their legs, get a lot of friction, man, rubbing their legs together back like a cricket. They feel that urge just like we do, and oftentimes, some of them use what you call that the devil's joy juice, that alcohol, man, to let that inner freak loose.
Yeah. I don't usually do this.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right. They say, but I got the joy juice in me. Miss T.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Miss T, your thoughts?
Sorry, yo. I don't know.
Yeah, just put it on mute. Just put it on mute. Yeah.
When you first gave the statistics or said that there was some poll or whatever, the first thing I thought, not necessarily comparing the two, but just what would they consider to be infidelity? Because I go back to the part about the emotional part. If they're including that, then that may need an adjustment in the numbers. But I agree with a little bit of what's been said previously from both stances. I do agree that women are better at hiding it. I mean, we're, to me, natural seducers. So with that, we have a little advantage. Trying to think about something Rico said as well. But I don't know, I just do believe that we're better at covering things up, as, you know, the joke that goes, you can find out information like the FBI, as soon as we have a name, that's all we need. And you know their whole history in like 30 minutes. I mean, we think ahead and can put stuff together to be able to cover it up, to be better cheaters or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. However, I agree with Rico. It came back to me now with the fact of I'm not a cheater, never have. That is my deal breaker in relationships. But if I were, I probably wouldn't be choosing the man to cry on his show. So I agree with him on that. Mm-hmm. If I have a reason to cheat, I'm gonna make it a good cheat. Mm. So it's gonna be somebody that's gonna fulfill the ultimate need.
Right. Right. So
I think women cheat to get their brakes changed and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, that's when they use the P to barter. It's like a form of currency. But Sweet Jones, go ahead and chime in. Have you familiar with you've had friends who've had a side dude and tried to make it look like it was their main dude's fault for them having a side dude?
Man, listen, man, it's always a dude's fault. It don't matter in what walk of life it is, man. It's gonna always be our damn fault. And when it comes to this stuff right here, man, it's like, I think somebody said it earlier, it'd be nice if women would just own this shit. It's like, so they talk about they're better at cheating, like that's a fucking badge of honor or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they need a reward for that. You know what I'm saying? You cheating, but then when a dude cheat on you, it's the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
We live in a time where it's like the cat is out the bag now, man. Like I say, women telling on themselves now. They telling on their friends when they fall out with them. You know what I'm saying? Men always been talking, you know. A lot of men, I try not to be so black and white here. So most men, they chatter. And we will always, some of us learned earlier, if you just keep your mouth closed, you can get a little bit more with the ladies. If you just don't kiss and tell, you shut the fuck up, you can get a lot further with these women. But it's like even that's out the window now, man. Everybody talking, everybody telling each other. And if they just played the game with some integrity, man, I think I think it wouldn't be so bad in the sense that everybody makes it out to be the crime that it is. Like, and that's what old girl and Blackson doing. You know what I'm saying? They come to each other and they're talking about it, and they found some common ground. You know, it's gonna work for her until it don't, because trust me, it ain't gonna work for her forever. But until that time comes, it's gonna work for them because they're talking about it. They're communicating their needs, their desires, their things of that nature.
Right. That talking to each other, I think is major. I think the hardest part about having a side chick or doing something like this is the secrecy. I read in like this, it was like a medical website that quoted a medical journal, and it talked about what added stress in a relationship when you're cheating is that when you hold secrets, it puts a lot of, it's like a stress on your prefrontal cortex. And so it releases cortisol levels. And so you become stressed out. You start snapping at your significant other But it's largely because of the fact that you're holding a secret. And when people are holding on to a secret, they just want to tell somebody. And that's why they feel so great. They feel great when they finally can, come out and be open. And so that's why my personal opinion is couples who have a relationship based on honesty and I guess a policy of non-jealousy, where you don't get worked up, you don't feel threatened, you feel secure. I think those couples tend to do a little bit better. But that's just my 2 cents. Now back on as far as there being valid reasons for being side chicks. Rick and I we were talking this weekend, and we were looking at the numbers, the gap in the sex ratio, and my estimate was off. I think I had it at 93 black men for every 100 men. And then Rick pointed out, he looked it up. It was actually 88. And I did look it up. It was 88. So with the sex ratio of white men to white males is 97 to 100. So there are 97 males for every 100 females. Okay, I think I see Mika coming on. I'm just waiting on. She has her little OBS emblem on. And with black men, it was 88 black men for every 100 black women. And in some neighborhoods, I think there was like 380 neighborhoods across the country, it was significantly worse, right? So the median was like around 81 black men for every black woman. And this is from, I believe, age 16 to 65 or 64, right? No, I'm sorry. This is 18. Under 18, the numbers are a little bit closer than that. So that would suggest, car crashes, mass incarceration, the homicide rate also plays a part into that into that gap. Hold on one second. I don't know if there's something going on in the chat. Can anyone just real quick, if you can hear me in the chat, just type 1. I just want to make sure that the chat is active. Yeah, I don't know if the chat. Okay. Yeah, the chat is good. So I just got in the text.
A second ago, I tried to pull it up. It wouldn't come up. I don't know why, but now it's up. Okay,
good. Okay. So, let me get back. So, when you look at those numbers, and then you factor in that a lot of black women grew up hearing that a good man is hard to find, right? Can you actually blame some women for accepting the role as a side chick, Mel?
Why do you always ask me first?
I don't. Hold on. Wait a minute. I don't ask. I always alternate. The women get asked questions first in the interest of fairness, because there are more men on here, and I always alternate. So Miss T gets some first, and then the next one you get some first. That's the format on this show. So it's not. I'm not picking on you. I'm just alternating, but I'm making sure that women get a fair voice on the show.
Get his ass, Mel.
Yeah. So do you think that given those numbers, right? Facing those odds, can you understand why some women would accept that role as being a side chick?
Because there are more men than women. Women accept the role of a side chick. That's your
no.
I'm
saying I'm saying because they are more women. I think they're like 2 million more black women than black men, right? and most women are kind of competing for the same narrow pool of men. I mean, does that excuse them taking that role, accepting being a side chick is what I'm saying?
I don't think it excuses it. I mean, I've never been a side chick, so I can't really say what goes on in their mind. But, I would think that a side chick's role is to be the main chick at some point, unless she already has another dude and she's just, using this guy to fulfill whatever she needs. But I would feel like a side chick that's only messing with the one dude, her goal is to become the main chick at some point. Mm-hmm. She's just waiting for the main chick to mess up, and then she can slide in there and put a cape on. That's how I see it,
Right.
But I don't think it's excusable. I just think she's just, waiting until a main chick messes up, and then she's like, "Hey, baby,
mm-hmm.
You can come over here. She acting funny. Come on over here."
You
me, I'm hungry.
You bring up a good point, and I want like the next topic that we bring up. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about mate poaching. Because that is a real phenomenon, and that is a real phenomenon.
Man, when you be looking these terms up, man.
So that is a real term. Sweet Jones, Sweet Jones. Don't you feel sorry for some of these women? You feel sorry for them because there's just not enough good men out there for all of them. So I mean, they got to get in where they can fit in, right?
Brother, my heart does go out to the ladies, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, Sweet Joe. After you, I'm gonna bring up Mika. Well, go ahead and state your point. I'm gonna bring up Mika though.
I was just gonna say, man. My heart goes out to the women, man. Everybody deserves somebody for them, man. You know what I'm saying? But now that we got that out the way, man, we got to deal with reality out here, man. And I'm almost beginning to think we got an ally male, man. She putting these women on blast.
Hey, she's pretty gangster. That's why she's my homie.
Right. Hey, I don't get into the numbers or whatnot, man. But all I can say at the end of the day is, it ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So to each his own, to each their own, man. That's really where I stand with it. It's to each their own. If that works for you and yours, man, have a blast. You know what I'm saying? But just try to be real about it, because, if not, it ain't gonna end well. It's not. It ain't gonna end well anyway. But more, if you ain't real open about it, it's definitely not gonna end well.
Right. Welcome, Mika. Everybody on the panel. This is Mika. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but she's back and she's ready. Mika, I don't know how much you heard.
I was in and out.
You were in and out. Okay.
I barely got anything.
Okay. So I'm gonna and I'm gonna try to do it in 30 seconds. Try to get you up to speed. So we were talking about the recent interview with Michael Blackson and how his fiancée said she allows him to have one side chick per month, but she doesn't want him to form attachments. I don't know how that's going to work. She wants a different side chick every month, so there's no forming of attachments. We then went and talked about if there were like reasons, like valid reasons for side chicks, and I quoted the statistics about there being a huge sex ratio. The sex ratio is pretty large in the black community, where there's only 88 black men for every 100 black women. And so, and in some neighborhoods, it's far worse than that, with the median being 81. So obviously there are neighborhoods where you probably have like a 70-30 ratio. And when the sex gap is that huge, doesn't that put a lot of pressure when it comes to dating and mating. And should we then, I don't want to say excuse, but shouldn't we understand why side chick culture exists in our community in certain cities?
And you know, with me, I don't see the necessity for a side chick. I think that any chick should be a main chick. I think that if you want to step out, I think it has to be something that's by arrangement. I think that you can easily incorporate an additional woman into your life. We do it in all kind of things that we do in the day. We'll have our grandmothers, aunties, cousins, sisters helping us take care of the kids. But then it comes to our man having a little fun, then we have a little problem with that, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like you have a lot of celebrities where the husband ends up having an affair with the nanny. Because it just kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, if you're dealing with somebody that loves your children as much as you love your children, I mean, that's bound to happen. So I can't see why women are so averse to actually just fully incorporating a woman. If she's saying, oh, you see, women don't know how to give up control, because even her saying he can have a side piece a month, you don't want him to get close to anybody but you. So now you're still controlling the situation. So, I mean, him as a man, I wouldn't go for that. I'd be like, you're going to tell me what I can have and win anyway. So what's the point? I think it just makes a whole lot more sense to actually incorporate other people. And so there's a trust there. There's an understanding that there's a dedication. There's not going to be diseases. There's not going to be, crazy pregnancies and stuff like that. There's more incorporation. So I'm all for incorporating a person. No, I think, women as a whole are, I'm not gonna say the insecure word, because women get real mad when you say that, but that's basically.
Don't worry, I'll say it. I'll say it. A lot of women are insecure.
Second.
I'll say it. A lot of women are insecure. But so when you say incorporate a lot of people, I want you to answer this real quick, and then I'll move on to Rick. Are you talking about the P word, and as far as like polyamorous?
I don't believe in polyamory.
Okay.
I believe in polygamy. I don't think all of that like tiptoeing and I love who I love and I think that there has to be an active understanding. I have to love who you love, because if I don't love who you love, then there's consistently issues with that. Whereas if I love her, you love her, it doesn't even have to be a sexual thing. That's where women get it twisted. They'll be like, oh, well, I'm not a lesbian, I'm not bisexual or whatever. You don't have to have no type of sexual relationship with this woman, but that's where the selfishness comes in. Well, there has to be something in it for me, but there is something in it for you. There's a sisterhood. It's just like a lot of men cheat on their women with the girl's best friend. Like, is it not all making sense to y'all right now? Because if you love my kids like I love my kids, it just makes perfect sense. So I don't know why we struggle with it so much, but that's just my thought process on that.
Mika, you have just turned this segment upside down. Absolutely. And So, yeah.
I'm sure go get a bottle of wine. I don't even drink. I'm ready to get a bottle of wine.
So yeah. We're definitely gonna follow up with that. I want to continue because I want Rick to respond to what you said, and then to Mantha, and then let's discuss mate poaching and find a way to tie what you just said into all that.
Oh boy.
Hey, Rick, do your thing.
Man, two things. First off, Mika for president. Second, where do you apply for the position of mate poacher? Maybe I heard of poachers in the past,
Oh no, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I'm just saying, like, can I just get that? Can I be a a mate poach.
Yeah, I mean, well, go ahead. I don't want to cut into you.
Okay, so all right, so let me get on it. I agree with a lot of what she's saying, but ultimately, I just feel like people should talk about what they really want, whatever it is, however outrageous it is, and then allow a person to determine whether or not that works for them. Because a lot of people say what they think they're supposed to say, and then they're bitter because they have resentment because they can't live their truth. And so that's where a big problem comes into play. I think a lot of women would want to, they want to get married and they want to do all of the little things that society tells them they're supposed to do. And they say what they have to say to get that marriage. And then once they get it, it's just like they were waiting to exhale, they exhale, and then everything just goes downhill because they did just tell the truth from the beginning. Since I was a child, I've been seeing movies where they show the woman all dressed up in her bridal gear, and then she's looking off to the side or peering out the window because she's hoping Chad come in on a motorcycle or a white horse and save her from her marriage. It's just like the dude that you're marrying would have probably still had a great time with you, showed you the time of your life, if you just told them, hey, look, we can hang out, but I'm still in love with Duke, and I'm hoping he get out of jail. You know what I mean? Just tell him the truth. And then you got no problems. Y'all be cool. I got friends that I was never in a relationship with. We were just solid. We were 100 with each other from the beginning. And then it was almost impossible for us to not be friends forever because we just kept it real. And it's the betrayal that gets people. And some people encourage people to betray them. You know, also, you kind of bully them and we just be real. Just keep it real. And then it just saves a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. I was going to say something else about, oh God,
Mika.
come to me.
Hey, if you're talking about what she said about polygamy, let's just wait so we can all jump on it. Because
No, it wasn't about that. It was a point that was made. Stan said she'll eventually get tired. From my expertise of watching the Jerry Springer files and the Maury Povich files, a lot of times it's the man who comes out on the losing end of that deal. A lot of times the ladies kick the dude to the curb, or the dude ends up getting left out. I'm not gonna lie, earlier when I was talking about my experience, the problem I had was I was getting jealous because my ladies, you know, when in the midst of that, they were spending too much time with their lady friend. And they were sitting there saying it's not nothing, it's not nothing. It can't be not nothing. It gotta be something. Mm-hmm. Something going on. You putting a lot of time, you answering to her. I had a girlfriend that would pick me up late for work in my car and tell me, oh, I'm sorry, babe, I had to take this person somewhere. And I'd be like, well, how you gonna pick me up late in my car? And she'd be telling her, you know, don't let Rico control you. And my girl would be acting like she really making a good point. Like, I'm trying to control her. You know, I'm your dude.
But she was trying to control
I wasn't paying all the rent. I was half the rent. I ain't gonna lie. I was low budget. You know, I was half the rent, but it was my car. And I was your dude. She was just supposed to be your friend. She had a dude. But it was a little, you know, I'm just like, you're a little bit too, you answer to her more than you will answer to me. She'd be on the phone explaining to her in front of me. I'm like, man, So a lot of dudes end up on the losing end of those relationships. I definitely believe that I was on the losing end, and I've had a lady friend tell me, you know, when she fessed up, hey, you know, listen, I like to do that, but you know, I like to do this too. But she wasn't willing to share. So shout out to Michael Blackson and his wife. Shout out to Jada Pinkett, who just don't care what her man do, long as he just don't bother her. You know, when we revisit that, you know, she just like, just look, man, just leave me alone. You go do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But
right. Miss T, I know there was a lot that was just unpacked.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give your thoughts on that.
I agree with Sweet Jones in the fact of regarding this relationship. I don't know about the rest of the people that are out there doing this, but the topic for today that is going to be okay with her until it's not. And I say that because I did read an article where she's already stated that she was having issues with him paying more attention to the other girls or whatever. So that, I mean, they've had doors, windows, and everything else, cracks here and there in their relationship from start to finish. So there's already been problems. Now you adding this into the cake, into it, even though she's saying she's cool with it because she likes having women too. But now you have a problem with the fact that he's paying more attention to them than you would like. So it goes back to what Mika was saying with the wanting to have control and stuff. So she's already showing that tendency. It's not going to last.
Right.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's recall something too. They were on, I think, couples therapy last year or somewhere back then.
Oh, so they all screwed up.
And she was having issues with him and the side chicks then. So I guess she come around as a form of a compromise and say, well, you can have one a month to control the situation, like we just heard. Mm-hmm. And now she is saying that that already ain't working for her. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just amazing. I just wanted to add that in there. Yeah, they've been screwed from the start.
Okay.
That sucks.
So I want to take a look at. There was a study that was published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, and in this study, the researchers showed a photo of a man who was, I guess, like the ideal, boo or beefcake, whatever. And so half the women were told that he was single. The other half told that he was attached. When they asked him, when they asked the women who were told that he was single, only 59% said that they would pursue a relationship with him. When they asked the group of women who were told that he was attached, 90% said that they would pursue a relationship with him. And so I've always said this, and Sweet Jones can attest to this. I've always said that women are like jobs, right? When you're unemployed, you can't find a job to save your life. As soon as you get a good job, everybody's calling your phone. Your phone is ringing off the hook. And it just goes to show that women want what other women want or desire, right? And so that's part of their competitive nature, right? Their competitive nature. It's like if they look at another woman and they feel like this woman is attractive, then they feel like one, he has something, and two, it just proves that she's a little bit better than the other woman. That's the toxic competitive nature of women that goes largely undiscussed. So to mate poaching, let me see what I have here. So my question to you, I'll start with you, Miss T.
Start here.
Son? I started with her last time. So,
the time before that and the time before that.
No. I have it written down.
Dear Bessie.
I written down, but
You know he wrote it down.
right. So, do you think that the main chick or a lot of women have a fear that they could lose their mate to their potential rival? Do you think that's what causes I don't know, I guess a lot of angst when it comes to side chicks?
So you saying in situations where you already know that there is a side chick and you okay with that?
No, I'm saying like because I'll say, for example, like I've read a lot of comments where you have couples and the woman will not want the man to have any female friends at the job.
Oh, okay.
But then she has female friends at the job and she feels it's different. Right? And so in that case,
Female or male friends?
No, she'll have male friends.
Okay.
But she'll just think that it's different. It's not serious. Because I don't know. And this goes back to Mika, what Mika said when it comes to control. I think a lot of women feel like men need to be controlled because we have no self-control. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I absolutely agree. Whatever his first question was, it goes back to kind of like what earlier, Mel had said she had never been a side chick. I saw Sweet Jones, I think I saw him say, you just didn't know. And for us as women, sometimes we play that innocent, we in the back of our head have asked ourselves, wait a minute, something not right. Like, why is he always stepping outside when he calls Bill? Why is this happening this way? But then we play that dumb role, like, I don't know, but you do know. And so I could see why women would feel threatened in senses like that. Like, okay, well, you got these friends at work. Like, who is this chick? What is her motive? And again, too, it goes back to what I said about women being natural seducers. Like, we're good at it. So once we got our eye on something, the target is there. I'm going for it. And I'm going all the way in until, like, I flat out know that there's no chance.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it from friends. I've seen it from people I've worked with. I've seen it a lot. So don't agree with it, but it's out there. So, I mean, as a woman myself, I question that sometimes. I'm not telling he can't have friends, but I will say be careful.
Mm-hmm. So and when you say be careful, your tone in your voice is kind of threatening.
I'm saying be careful, like that's a snake in the grass that I see from this end is what my be careful means.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at your nonverbals and I'm afraid right now. So I'm assuming that he was afraid.
Well, I'm sure he probably was. I mean, I've been married, now divorced. I told him several times with certain people, something ain't right about her. I'd be careful if I were you. And sure enough, he'd come back and say, you were right. She tried to come home to me.
Did she put the pistol on the table, AK? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I just saw the nonverbals and the tone, and I had like a little shiver right here, man. So I can imagine it was kind of scary. Hey, Sweet Jones, what do you think? Women seem to be hyper vigilant about their men getting close to other women. Have you ever seen a situation where a woman is hyper vigilant about her man being close to a woman, but she has male friends?
I'm sure I have. And I'm trying to think, right off the top of my head. I can't give you a specific example right off the top of my head, man. Mm-hmm. But what I can go back to, just if I could, to the question you asked about competition, and the original question you asked me about is the first woman just afraid of losing her man to the second woman. Mm-hmm. I definitely can speak to that. I have a partner who flat out told me his main told him, "I'm not gonna let her win." Mm. And it was just it, and I'm withholding certain things or whatever.
Right.
Just in case they're out there listening.
Right.
But they knew of transgression. They knew about it. before any of that happened, you know, he was made to believe that, you know, if you violate it, he out of there. But then as time went on and a lot of stuff became invested in the relationship, when that time came, unfortunately for her, and unfortunately for all of them involved, I'm not letting you go. I'm not losing to her. And I was just like, wow. That just kind of blew me away, man. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna think on the question you asked me, but I definitely had to respond to that.
Okay, now I want you to be honest.
Okay.
When you heard that, did you think it was sexy?
Nah, I can't say that. I can't say I thought that was sexy.
Okay.
I'm thinking that boy one step closer to his grave, man. I ain't think she was sexy about that.
Yeah, you said nah, it's not cool. Okay.
No, sir, because you gonna keep hearing about what you did. As long as you stay around, you gonna keep hearing about what you did, and at some point, she might lose it on your ass, bro. You might want to count your losses and figure something else out, man. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah. Mika, since you brought up polygamy, and we'll touch on that next, but so mate poaching, and you brought up polygamy and why you were. I don't want to misquote you or mischaracterize what you said. You said you were okay with that. Is that correct? Okay. Mm-hmm. And so then what polygamy then does is removes the need to hide, but there's still, even within polygamy, there's still competition, and maybe it's not mate poaching, but there's jockeying to be the number one, right?
So okay, I'm not familiar with the concept of mate poaching.
Oh, it's just a mate stealer. Somebody who tries to, it's the scientists are the ones that call it mate poaching, but it's just somebody who's a thief that will steal your man or steal your woman.
Well, I think, and this is just one thing that I put my foot down on. I think that I love men, but men can be fooled by women, right? That's why the woman has to be involved, because me as a woman, I could tell what she's in it for, right? It's not hard for me to figure out what she's in it for. It's very easy for me to see what she's in it for, right? So that's why he can't really go at it alone. That's why anytime that there's any society where there's an additional person that's brought in, it's both of them seeking and both of them kind of dating and spending time and getting to know this person, because literally, like, I can immediately, I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm a woman. Mm-hmm. I don't expect you to do that. I don't expect you to know that. And I think that with this situation, I think that a lot of people go at polygamy the wrong way. They go at bisexual women, which is exactly the opposite of what they should do, because a lot of bisexual women are more invested in women. So then you run the risk of your man, just like, I think Rico was talking about that earlier, you become, the wet food stamp over in the corner, they kick you to the curb because they're more interested in each other, right? And so that's where I think polygamy goes wrong today, is that they're too much into the sex part of it, right? I'm very rational. I'm very logical. I know that if we go on a trip, I would prefer for another person who's just as invested in my children to stay with my children when we go on this trip, and vice versa. I would expect you, when you leave your kids with us, you go with him. Y'all do whatever it is y'all do. Y'all have a great time, and I got the kids covered. It's just more functional. I look at it from a functional aspect. I'm not horny all over the place. Women is not my first pick. Mm-hmm. They will never be my first pick. And so that's why it makes perfect sense for someone not like me. Now, if you got a woman who she like, she really like women, it could potentially be a problem, because it's not going to be the man getting poached. It's going to be the woman getting poached.
Right. Yeah. Man, I'm stewing over what you're talking about. It's just the wheels are turning in my head. But Mel, and I'm coming back to you next with the next round. So you're going to start the next round. Mel, your thoughts on mate poaching, and if you feel like that fear of losing your man out to the other woman is what causes so much angst about a potential side chick situation.
I don't really believe in mate poaching. I believe if somebody want to leave, they're going to leave. There's nothing you can do to stop them. I think the angst comes from when you look at, what you have to lose and you're trying to keep that, like, for example, there was a guy that I wasn't even looking at like that at all. And his wife took it upon herself to introduce herself to me, just randomly out the blue, and I was like, oh, hello, but it was to let me know, number one, this is my man. And number two, I see you. Mm-hmm. But, I wasn't looking that way. So it was like, you just wasted your time. If your man want to step out, there ain't nothing you can do. There's nothing anybody can do. If somebody wants to cheat, they're going to cheat. So I don't necessarily believe in the poaching term. Because to me, the poaching means that the woman set out to get somebody's man. But you can't take anybody that doesn't want to be removed in the first place. Because if he was happy at home, then he wouldn't even think about you.
You know that a lot of side chicks go crazy over the fact that most men are not going to leave. Most men are not going to leave their wife because I don't want to say it's just something extra, and I'm not going to say that there's nothing emotional, but most men are heavily and emotionally, socially, psychologically, financially invested in their wives and kids. They're not just going to pick up and leave that situation. And I think, again, it goes back to control and about power. And I think they feel like if they can't make the man leave his wife, then they're going to do what it takes to make the wife leave the man. And I think they'll reach out to the wife and say, I mean, it's pretty like devious. I mean, because what do you think is you're not going to benefit because even if he leaves her, his wife, and you get married, there's a 70% chance that you're going to get divorced because it's again, like Stan was hitting, it's the same thing over again. There's not going to be any trust in your situation. He's not going to trust you because you cheated with him when he was married, and you're not going to trust him because he cheated with you when you were married. So you have a situation or a relationship that's doomed to fail. But I want to go ahead and let you finish. I just wanted to just chime in real quick. Did you have anything?
No, I agree 100% with what you said. Like they used to say in the old days, you lose them how you got them. So that still is true. I feel like, if he's out here cheating with you and you're cheating with him, then it's doomed from the start. But, a lot of people don't see that when they're in it, for whatever reason, love, lust, money, or whatever. But I completely agree. Yeah.
I have heard women who were like the other woman, the side chick. I mean, I'm saying in post, right? In certain groups, they will say things like they could never trust a man because they were cheating. They've cheated with multiple married men, and because of that, I mean, they were in long-term relationships with multiple married men, and because of that, they don't trust men. And I'm like, you would think that would cause some type of like cognitive dissonance or something. It doesn't really make much sense. I mean, you're blaming him, but you're as much to blame for the situation as he is. But once again, it's how, sometimes a lot of women, They're like, what's his name? Keanu Reeves, like Neo in the Matrix. When it comes to responsibility, when those responsibility bullets, man, they just dodge and they don't accept. They don't accept responsibility. Mika, polygamy. It wasn't on the radar. You put it on the radar. Congratulations. Give yourself a bow. We live in a society that embraces monogamy, even when it's clear that monogamy does not work. Monogamy is, I don't want to say is not natural. It is a Western form of marriage. There are I think globally there are 4 forms of actually 3 forms of marriage, but then one has 2. So there's monogamy, which comes from ancient Mesopotamia. That's a Greek and Roman thing that was incorporated into Christians during later time, accepted monogamy. And then there's synogamy, which is practiced in South America, which is like a group marriage where it's mainly like Eskimos and Native Americans, like in South America, they practice it where it's like group marriage, and each one take turns. We in America we call them swingers, but it's group marriage. And then there is polygamy, which you have polygyny and you have polyandry, and polyandry is where one woman has multiple husbands, and the marriage type is normally dictated by the social environment that people grow up in. So say, for example, in the Himalayas, where there just weren't many women, they practice polyandry. And in some cases, they practice fraternal polyandry because that was safer, because men were trying to kill each other. So you would have either a cousin or a brother share wives, and whatever offspring resulted from that was considered the child of everybody. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but why do you think we have this death grip on monogamy when it is clear that monogamy, I don't want to say it doesn't really work, but there's issues with monogamy as well?
Because we've been taught to be individualistic. We've been taught it's whatever makes me happy. It's I have to be important. I have to feel special. And it was crazy because I remember I was in a clubhouse room and I was asked, do you want to be, what was it? Do you want to be loved or do you want to feel special? Like, and so like, I was like, what do you like? And then I thought about it. I was like, that's where women are going wrong. Women want to feel special. But is it more important for you to feel special, or is it more important for you to be truly loved and truly taken care of? And I think people have to get outside of that. And I know that the idea is not for the weak. And see, what happens is you have a society full of followers, right? Mm. And so what they're doing is they're just kind of following this monogamy boat, right? Whereas if popular culture, if Meg Thee Stallion started rapping about polygamy, then these fools will be running for polygamy. I mean, it's like they have no type of individualistic mindset, right? And so I can get outside of myself. And I truly believe that when you love a person, you understand that you cannot fully complete one person. You cannot be everything to one person. It'd be like if your husband told you you can't have any more female friends. It's only him. You would be like, what is that? That's crazy, right? We have different pieces that we need from different people. And we can conceptualize that. But then as women, we want to control men. And that's the bottom line. We can control them by telling them what they're going to do with their penis. That's literally the only way we can control them. And so that's what we kind of subscribe to. But I say this, as a woman, like it or not, if you're doing your job, he's always going to show back up to you. he's always going to show back up to me. Go have fun, go run through the flowers, go smell the roses. You always going to come back to me. I don't have a concern that my man is not going to show back up to me. I've never had a problem. And I was married for, 11 years? I never had a problem with him coming back. He literally go out see somebody that same night. He right back under me. I'm like, couldn't you stay out? I mean, that's just how it is when somebody really loves you. And I think that people they say they love people, but they don't want to love people. They want to possess people. I don't want to possess my husband. I want to be protected. I want to be provided for. I want to know that he's going to do what he needs to do as a man. And I can't know that he's going to do what he has to do as a man by snatching his balls away from him and telling him what he can do with his penis. I don't know how that's supposed to work.
Yeah,
so that's just my thought.
I don't know, and I'm not coming to you, Mel. I'm just bringing you up for reference. I don't know that Mel agrees with everything that you just said, but and I don't want to speak for her, but I do believe, because I think she's on the same page when it comes to not being jealous and not trying to control somebody, because a person is going to do what they're going to do. There's nothing you can do about it, and you're going to give yourself an aneurysm, stressing yourself out trying to control them. Rick, can one person be your everything? And then this is in context to the argument monogamy versus polygamy. Can one person be your everything?
I think it depends on the person, and
is that like
it depends on the two individuals. I don't think that there's I don't think that people should pressure a person to go against what they feel works for them. I could say, I want two women or three women or whatever, but you also have to be mindful that it's hard enough to get along with one person. So you have to also take that into consideration. And a lot of people think that for a man, it's a great big old fantasy dealing with two women or three women. Oh, it's not fair. Well, for one, if it's a guy and he in the house with three women, it's not fair for him. It ain't nothing. It's tough on him, man. I think you can love more than one person. I don't think that you can have 10 kids and love all of them, and you got 60 cousins, you love all of them. So I think you can love more than one person. I'll just go back to what I said earlier. Just be straight up. Once you be straight up, man, you just a lot of the problems go away. And people do want to possess you. They want to, steal you away from your dreams. Even if that's, I remember I used to rap, and my girlfriends would love me in the beginning, but soon as they be waiting for me to drop that L bomb, they say, "I love you, Rico," and I go, "Okay, I love you, Rico." Okay, and I love you, Rico. I love you too. Don't you think it's time you stop rapping? As soon as I say that, they start snatching the dreams away, boy. Stop snatching them away. Soon as I just any type of chink in the armor, and they start snatching the dreams away. I think people do that. Stan, I don't think that thing is that far-fetched, though. I had a girlfriend cheat on me, and I was on a prowl. I was like, I'm going to win, and I got her back. And then I was like, the heck did I do that for? You know what I mean? Like, then I had to figure out how to get rid of her. Because I got her back, and I was like, I just wanted her back because she dumped me. You know what I mean?
So that was your ego.
It was your ego.
Yeah. It was something. I'll tell you what, though, it was the same night that I got her back. I was like, I actually wanted to break up with her before she broke up with me.
But you wanted to end on your terms.
I got her back. I don't even think I expected to get her back, but I was purposed to get her back. I didn't expect it to work so well. And then I got her back and I was just like, dang, how I'm gonna get rid of her? So, you know, we do that. And we do that. Same thing happened to me. I had women that act like they could care less about me while we were together. And then when I dumped them, all of a sudden they showed me that I want to show you that I'm a good woman. Like, you don't really care. Because the minute I got nice to them again, all of that nice stuff fell right off. So people do backward stuff like that.
Miss T, in context with the whole monogamy versus polygamy, I think Hanifa in the chat mentioned that she said that monogamy is a discipline and it's not innate to everyone. What's your thoughts on that?
I would agree with saying that it's probably not innate to everyone. I do believe that it kind of goes with what Mika was saying. When you have an agreement, like I totally believe in monogamy. I would not want to be in a relationship with more than just myself and somebody else. As Rico said, I've been married for 21 years. And after being married that long and then coming out and being single and having a date, that's a lot to juggle. And then two, being able to like somebody long enough to just multiple people, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I believe because my relationship now truly will work that way because we both truly believe in monogamy, and the whole outside people is a no. The cheating is a deal breaker for both of us. So yes, I believe that this will be successful. But if it was someone who may have entertained that in a previous relationship or something to that degree, that would make me kind of be a little leery of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
what are your thoughts? Like, let's say you meet somebody and they happen to be polygamous. I mean, do you turn your nose up at them? I mean, do you look at them like they have Ebola or something? Like how do you view people like that?
Well, I actually looked it up for this situation to see, considering that Black man was from Ghana, to see what their culture was. Mm-hmm. And so there is a custom, or it was a custom, to have a relationship of say it for me because now my mind is going wrong. I can't say it.
Oh, polygamy?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's law now not to. So something changed over time for whatever reasons, whether it was just, normalizing it to our standards or whatever standards. And so I try not to judge people. If that's what you want to do, that's on you. Because I wouldn't want anybody to tell me that I'm wrong for the way I want to do it. I have a belief of how it should be, but again, I can't tell you what to do in your house. Just like I can't do with anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Mel, Miss T just said that she gave an example of how in Ghana polygamy was accepted, and then they changed their laws to match ours. I don't want to give too much, but given your background, about laws and everything, and I'm thinking, what's your take on how monogamy seems to be the only, it seems to be like whatever the ideology is of the West seems to be spread out through the world. And I don't know if it's like a form of control, like whether it's our religious beliefs, whether it's our political beliefs, and in this case, marriage. I mean, because I don't know. I'm. What's your take on it? I'll let you freestyle and tell me what you think.
My take on polygamy and monogamy, or my take on
polygamy versus monogamy as two forms of marriage.
I think you gotta do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. Everybody's gonna have their own way of living their life, and if it works for you, cool. Like for example, one of my good friends is from Zimbabwe, and in Zimbabwe, it's still very much accustomed to have multiple wives. They call it a big house and a small house. And the big house is the wife that you were married to first. Usually she's a little bit older than the man. She kind of like sets the tone, takes care of the house. But the man is also allowed to have a small house, and it may be a younger wife. You know, let's say if the older wife can't have kids, they can have kids with the younger wife to make sure their line continues. You know, so I feel like you got to look at what is going to be best for you. In my personal opinion, I've never been married, nor do I want to be married. It's just not something I ever felt like doing. I personally believe, you know, we can have an open marriage and we can communicate whatever we need to do to make us work. It doesn't have to be monogamous if that's what we decide, you know, it's not going to work for us. Or if maybe monogamy will, you know, we can always switch. But in terms of customs in different countries, I think America has always wanted to be the mother of the world. So we have always forced our opinion on other countries, either through colonization or through giving them aid. So it could be that because Ghana is a British colony, the British forced their customs and their rules, and that caused the change. You know, I would have to do more research and dig into it. But, you know, I think the Western world always wants everyone to see their view and make their view the dominant view. And that's not always the best policy, in my opinion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Every walk of life.
Sweet Jones, in America, right, our laws are based on Judeo-Christian values. We have seen gay rights passed and gay marriage passed. We have seen like legal protection for members of the transgender community. And, you know, and I'm not saying from a personal or from a civic standpoint, but I'm just saying from a biblical standpoint, that goes against what's in Scripture. However, what doesn't go against Scripture is polygamy. There is no script, and it is nothing in the Bible that says that polygamy is a sin. And when you talk to a lot of folks, you know, what they say is they always point to, you know, 1 Corinthians 7. And trust me, I know that. I've read that back and forth. 1 Corinthians is where Paul is basically saying that, you know, ideally it's best that you abstain from sex and just be spiritual. But since you can't keep it in your pants, I permit you to have one wife, a man to have one wife and a wife to have one man, and man has no dominion over his body and woman has no dominion over her body. That basically you can't deny each other sex, which there's a lot of women who use sex as a weapon and deny their partner's sex. But it was a compromise. But you know, and you have to look that was written at a time when Neoplatonism, right, was the philosophy or the ideology at that time. And when it comes to the Platonists, they believed that we were spiritual beings trapped in a material world, right? And that the world that we're living in is pretty much like a matrix, and that once you ascend to your true form, right? And so that's why they wanted you to practice, you know, self-abnegation, deny yourself things, deny the flesh. But 1 Corinthians 7 was the compromise, right? Being as though there's nothing in the Bible that specifically says that polygamy is a sin. Even though there is something that says that, you know, man laying down with man, woman laying down with woman. This is not me. This is the Bible. Don't hold that against me. I'm just quoting the Bible. Do you think the time is near when the government is going to be forced to revisit laws prohibiting polygamy? And do you think men will be celebrating all across the country when it happens?
First of all, let the church say amen.
Amen.
I realized we were having Bible study this evening, but I appreciate that because I was not aware. So I thank you for that, AK the professor. But to answer your question, I would say no, because that seems like too much like something that us men would enjoy. So I can't see them want to give us free reign